Hello, everybody. Hello, hey, everyone joining this new session of LRVS EMEA 2023. Thank you for joining, and I'm sure you'll find this one fascinating and a lot of learning. So I'm here today to introduce Hassan Abdelnabby, and Hassan is the Egypt community leader for Mobius Connect. And the topic he will be talking to us about today is enhancing inventory management performance to increase equipment reliability. So without further ado, Hassan, the floor is yours, and we are all ears. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your introduction. Hello and welcome to this presentation. It's an honor to be here again for the third time this year. And it is my pleasure to represent Mobius Connect in such an amazing event. Today, we're going to discuss enhancing inventory management from a point of view of a maintenance engineer to make sure that you increase the equipment reliability while reducing the cost of inventory itself. So I'm just going to add a little bit about myself. I'm a mechanical maintenance deputy manager at Zeina Tissue Mill. I have 10 years of experience in maintenance reliability improvement. I'm a certified maintenance and reliability professional from SMRP and a Six Sigma Green Belt from ACQ. I have some other certificates in condition monitoring. I hope you like my presentation today. We're going to start today with a quote from Robin Sharma. A small daily improvement will lead with time to stunning results. That's why in Mobius, we are still persistent to make sure that we deliver the message that we are seeking to deliver to all professionals in the industry. So I invite you all to go to Mobius Connect to see how it's easy to solve your problems and engage with others in live feed, how to connect with the industry professionals, and how you can continue your journey to educate yourself easily and with your own pace, in order to make sure that you are aware with new trends in the industry. We have tons of case studies, technical articles, white papers, and webinars. We discuss different topics like alignment, lubrication, oil analysis, and ultrasound. We also talk about asset strategy and the implementation strategy. Also, we have a community connect. You can join your local community now. And if you can see your country, we invite you to start your own local community. You can be part of this by attending the live events. You can share the post we make via social media, help spread the word about the community. And of course, you can post your articles or even create your own webinar. So today we're going to discuss some important aspects of this important subject. We're going to start by finding a bad actor list and creating the bill of material for that list. After that, you need to determine the current state of your inventory room, create some basic calculation, and define the criticality of the item inside your warehouse, and enhancing the spare part management. At the end of the session, we're going to discuss a little bit about the future of the inventory management. So let's start. Finding your bad actor list. So if you have a critical equipment list, and you know for sure which equipment that cost you most pain, you can combine these together and create your bad actor list. So why seeking bad actor list? You seek bad actor list because this can give you a huge impact while trying to take senior management support, because they hear a lot about some equipment that cause most pain in the factory. And when you start to work with them, you can gain easily the support from senior management. Also, you can cut the distance to create an actual impact on the ground by focusing on the equipment that cause you the most pain. This, of course, will reduce any cost of any initiatives that you're gonna try to do. So if you are not aware how to create your critical equipment, any equipment that has a huge impact on production, safety, environment, cost, or quality, it's a critical equipment. You need to sit with all of the team, all involved team, HSE, production, and maintenance, to make sure that you can use a sample like this, a criticality matrix, in order to define with your team which equipment is critical, which is not. Because if you focus from your own point of view that as a maintenance engineer, and the important equipment or critical equipment is the equipment that cost you the most downtime, and that's it, you may forget about an equipment that can make a huge disaster on your reputation or health and safety issue. So when you check a criticality ranking like this, you can see the consequence class and the probability of this failure. And the interaction between both lines create you the degree or the severity of this critical equipment. After you create the critical equipment, you need also focusing about the downtime history about your equipment. This is an example, a machine that failed for 727 minutes through all of the year. You collect all of the equipment that failed, and after you create your list, you know for sure which items is causing the most pain. So, for example, the tail cutter here takes 727 minutes from all over the 2,528 minutes all over the year, and it is a critical equipment from the production. So this is the equipment you need to start working with. This is an easy way to come up with a bad actor list in order to focus on the a few equipment that needs your focus, and when you fix these equipments, you create the huge impact on the ground as soon as possible. So now we're gonna go a little bit further, and you create the bill of material for your asset. So if you already have a spare part list, it's an easy issue for you to create this bill of material. At the end of the day, you just want to create an example like this. A pump has a centrifugal pump and a motor, and every pump has some items in it, and the motor has some item in it. So if you want to perform any maintenance on the centrifugal pump, you need to know for sure which items you need to replace and is it available on the store or not. There are two ways to create the bill of materials. There's a single layer and multiple layer. From my point of view, multiple layer, yes, gonna need an extra work a little bit, but it can give you a huge result, because sometimes the planner may forget that if he want to change part A, he doesn't need all of the items beneath it. That's why he can delay the work order in order to make sure that all the item is available. But if you go with a parent-child relationship, you can find for easy that if you want to change part A, for example, you need only part B and part E with these quantities. So you don't need a sixth of E, you need only 3 in order to perform this maintenance on part A. This can help you enhance the smoothness of your work orders and perform it in the least amount of cost if you consider it this way. As an easy example for this is the bicycle. If you want to change a wheel, and you know for sure that you have 2 rims and 2 tires, and you have in your store 2 rims, but you don't have the tires. If you want to change the wheel, you need to make sure that you purchase the 2 tires before you start working on the BO, the work order itself. So if you focusing on building the bill of material, there are some best practices you can work with in order to make sure that you achieve better results. So you need to put all the important data in one sheet, like part number, description, a correct description, quantity, and unit of measure, and manufacturer. This can help you identify the items, and it can help you easily in the purchase cycle to make sure that you purchase the correct items with the correct quantity. And also you need to sort out the spare part list in order to add certain items in your bill of material. You don't need to put all small items you can get from the store, or you can treat it as consumables that can work with different equipments. You need to select the important items inside the equipment in order to make sure the bill of material is easy to audit and clean all the time. You need to make sure that after you create your bill of material, you continue audit this bill of material. You need to make sure that it is clean and it is relevant to the actually ground, or actually what you can see in the ground. But it is also important to choose your best team member. I know you sometimes you focus that my best team member I'm going to lose it in the warehouse. But believe me, if you give this task to your team member, the best one, you can achieve great results in enhancing the inventory management. So now all of this can be done in your office without even visiting the inventory room. But now let's switch to the third part of our presentation, and you determine the current state of your inventory room. So if you are new in the plant, or you haven't seen the inventory room for a long time, and you go there and you can see it like this, there are some quick decisions you need to send to the spare part team or the warehouse team in order to make sure that you can come up with a useful results from this kind of room. Of course, you can start by sorting everything. They're gonna say it's gonna cost a lot of time. It's not an easy task to clean all of this at once. You need to be decisive in this, sort everything, and put everything in the same items together, all the like items together, bearings, belt, oil barrels together. You need to start counting everything and label everything and put it in one sheet that has all of the details that you can find it available. You can check the expiry date of the items and check the integrity of the packages itself in order to make sure that the item is actually going to work when you install it on your equipment. After that, you need to limit the access or give your decisions, your recommendation, or you can give your orders to limit the access for this store to only qualified personnel. You don't need to repeat the cycle again and again after a few months. But if you are lucky and you went to your warehouse and you find it a little bit in a better shape, there are also some improvement points you can do in order to enhance this type of inventory room. So you can use first in, first out, of course, when selecting. You can now consider the shelf life of the items like bearing, hoses, belts, and seals, because you wear out with time. You also can follow up the OEM instructions while loading and unloading the items, cleaning the shelves according to the environment, of course. If you in a dusty environment, you need to clean it more often if you are in a good environment. If you have a big motor, you can turn a quarter of turn every 3 months in order to make sure that the motor itself is okay and the bearing is not defected before even install it on your equipment. So after determining the current state, you know for sure which items you have in your house, in your spare part house, and you now need to calculate some basic calculations with the help of the spare part team, of course, in order to make sure that you are not overstocking your inventory. So this graph shows the inventory level with time, and there is an important issue here is the reorder point. If you are consuming with time and you know for sure that the lead time will cover up for only 2 or 3 items, you need to consider this reorder point in order not to avoid the stock out level. So how to determine the minimum stock? You can determine the minimum stock by the usage per year for certain years, 3 or 4 years before, and you calculate it and ask for the lead time from the vendor or from the purchase department in order to make sure the minimum quantity is this much. And for the maximum quantity, which is here, you can minimum quantity level plus the economic order point. Economic order point, of course, it has a formula that introduce ordering cost and the inventory cost itself with the usage per year in order to select the proper quantity to be ordered every cycle time. If it's important, you need to have a safety stock, maximum lead time minus normal lead time with the consumption rate, of course, multiplied by the consumption rate. And the normal consumption rate, if you are happy and if you are successful to achieve such an easy life for a normal item, the normal consumption rate is 5 years or 2 years or even annual years if you don't have enough data, because the more the data, you can come with the precise estimation for the item or the consumption rate. So the expected annual usage divided by the number of days. But now we're going to discuss an important task. Which items should be stocked? Because you have a limit in inventory space, or even you have the limit from the budget, because sometimes you enter a factory and you found out that the previous colleague left you with $2 million US spare parts inside on your warehouse, and you don't actually need most of them. So you can know for sure that you need to approach this subject with caution, because top management will not tolerate any kind of overstocking your inventory. So if you have a first line spare part that is frequent used and it has a high stake, you need to have a proper stock of this. But if you have a critical spare part that is seldom or never used, you can create a no stock. There are other options, like to have a vendor operated stock, but it is on the vendor warehouse, not in your warehouse. Or you can share this critical equipment with different plants inside your area in order to minimize the cost of inventory. Because as we discussed earlier, your task is to create a proper inventory management or a proper spare part management, but not increasing the cost of your spare part at the end of the day, because all of us want to have a reliable plant, but you can do it by put in the stock a redundant equipment, because you want to make sure that when the equipment fails, you remove it and put another equipment, and that's it. But this is not economical, and senior management will not tolerate this kind of behavior. Also, you can determine the criticality of this stock. So if the stock can be found in the local market and it is certain that it's going to fail maybe 1 month, you can create a stock, but the stock might be low. But if it's the probability of failing part is less than 1 per year, but it has 8 weeks of lead time, you need to consider it wisely. So this kind of criticality chart can help you determining which item to purchase. Of course, foreign items can be a little bit difficult in Egypt, for example, due to the current economical situation. So you need to approach with caution that 8 weeks might be extended to 12 weeks. This is the maximum expected lead time that you need to work with. So you need to make sure that you only ask for the items that it is essential to have in order to proceed with the normal operation for as much possible without costing more money. Of course, with the help of ABC classification, you can make sure that you are focusing on the correct items, because when you take the 10,000 items inside your warehouse and you categorize them or sort them by value, you're going to find that only 20% in number has 80% of value. And the remaining can be, you can focus less about them, or you can even enhance the mentality for changing the items. Because at the end of the day, some people has a misconception of, is it a critical equipment? Yes, it's a critical equipment. So all the spare part list should be available on the spare part warehouse. We don't have to tolerate anything. But if you can focus on these spare parts, you can find like 80% of them are items that can be get from the stock from the local market, or even have identical twins or identical items inside different equipment inside your plant. So you need to focus that if you focus on the critical few, you will enhance the procurement efficiency. You will reduce the cost, of course, of your inventory, and you have a better storage and distribution. For example, if it's a huge items and you have a limit store, you can put them on the back and make sure that they are intact and you don't need to reorder them again. And of course, this have a priority settings for the inventory management. You can make your warehouse team, or you can help the warehouse team to focus on the important items. So now we are approaching the end of our presentation. Let's discuss a little bit about enhancement of your spare part management. So, of course, you need to make sure that the records are available in good condition and in correct description and quantity. Because if the records are has a problem in it, you know for sure that you will create false decisions or bad decisions that at the end of the day, you will pay for the price. Yes, it's time consuming, but it is essential for your success. to enhance the performance of your inventory. Of course, the best course of action is to give it to the best team member, but give him a realistic goal. Don't tell him that you're going to finish this warehouse in only 1 week and you have 3 or 4 workers and you start working. This is not a realistic goal. You need to work shelf by shelf. As Robin Sharma said, a small daily improvement will have a stunning results at the end of the year. Of course, your continuous follow-up is the key success for this improvement. Now we're going to discuss a little bit about the procedure. It's your responsibility as a maintenance manager or a maintenance engineer to create, with the help with the spare part manager, a procedure that is easy for the technician to remove items from the store and put it back again if they don't need it. Because if you create a bad procedures or involve a lot of steps, this will create the shadow store. Shadow store is the store under the stairs or in boxes inside the toolbox of the technicians. They remove the items from the warehouse and put it in there because they do not rely on the warehouse to help them. Maybe at night or is the procedure to return this item is hassling for them. So in order to avoid the shadow store, you need to come up with a proper procedure in order to enhance the spare part management. Now we're going to discuss an important task is the security procedures. So you need to make sure that nothing come out or nothing goes in without recording. And if you fail to do this step, at the end of the day, you will find that you are not aware of what actually inside your warehouse. And when you issue a work order and start the work, start getting this part in order to fulfill the work order, you will find out that something is missing or broken from last time and no one introduced it in the record for you. So security procedures is important, and this also can be done by the help with the spare part manager and your security team inside the plant. Finally, you need to train your team to be able to locate the items quickly. Yes, this is a task for the clerk of spare part clerk inside the warehouse, but sometimes some factories does not have this clerk at the night, and sometimes the technicians need to go inside the factory inside the spare part in order spare part warehouse in order to take these items. So you need to train them to be able to get the item quickly and not to create any disaster while getting this item. So you need to train them how to maneuver inside the warehouse in order to make sure that the item is intact and the personnel are safe while doing so. So at the end of our session, we're going to discuss what more we can do. So of course, there are some important tasks that you can do, like part kittings, to put everything in one kit in order to help speed up the process of taking up the items. This is essential while performing the work order by itself, or it's easier for the planner to make sure that all the items that might be needed inside one box and the technician will not mix up anything. But we now going to discuss a little bit about the enhancement. So implementing ERP system is the key for this. You need to make sure that you have a ERP system if you want to enhance, but to be honest, you can achieve a good results with the spreadsheet and you can with some hard work, but ERP system will keep track of everything and going to help you track every movement of any item. Of course, you can use the barcode scanners to speed up any transactions inside the warehouse, or even implement a part-to-man system when the technician stay outside the warehouse and the item itself come up to him using conveyors system. So of course, it has an initial capital investment, but it has a lot of benefits. If your factory needs this kind of control inside the warehouse, you can introduce this kind of systems. But also you can use IIoT to detect any movement from the shelf, like the Amazon new stores, the clerkless stores. You can for sure that once you take the item out of the shelf, it automatically sends a signal to the ERP system that this item is taken. Of course, enhancing the environment is critical, and you can do it Sometimes it is you have a huge store and you cannot control the environment, but using proper case study with the business case with top management, senior management, you can be able to enhance the environment inside your storeroom. So at the end of the day, it's all about hard work and teamwork. But without persistence, you will not be able to achieve the results that you want to achieve. Thank you so much for your time. You can get in touch with me with all social media platforms. I will be available at the Mobius Connect booth if you want to chat with me after this presentation. I just want to thank you for your time. It's an honor to be here, and that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Hassan, so much. This is so dense and intense, so much that's key to industrial management in such a short time. We have a couple of questions, and we have one from Islam, and we have one from Bruno. I will take Bruno's question first because it's taking us more specifically to fluids and lubes, and because this is LRVS, so let's take this opportunity. And Bruno's question is, how can we track the available remaining content of fluids and additives inside pails and barrels in inventory? So this takes you, as you're in a factory, you have specific practices for lubes.
Yes, in my previous presentation in LRVS Americas, I was discussing this, so you can implement some improvement inside your warehouse for the oil warehouse in order to make sure that the remaining quantities is intact. You can enhance this by creating or changing the ways that you handle this oil, or make the side glass in order to make sure that what is the remaining for the oil. But you can do it easily using small equipments. If you make sure that you only take the required quantities from the barrel without taking all the barrel to the equipment, but what the equipment need and send it back. This is a disaster because you introduce new contamination, traveling the oil around the plant, creating more contamination. So you need to make sure that you have a specified area, designated area, to make sure that the oil is not intact, and you can introduce filtration. All of this I discussed in my previous presentation. This is an easy way to make sure that you know for sure the quantities of your oil inside the barrel.
All right, thank you. Yeah, fluids are a separate matter with lots more to say. So I try to see your previous presentation. Now on to Islam's question. Islam is asking, how can I select the inventory KPIs that will help me measure and track my progress? I think you touched on some of that, but can you be specific on KPIs?
Okay, KPIs is essential topic. You need to make sure that you track everything. So you need to track the parts that are remaining, the sitting ducks. You need to make sure that this amount of sitting ducks as minimum as possible. You need to make sure that the lifetime of the shelf lifetime of every part is okay and acceptable. You need to make sure that also you need to make sure that every items inside your warehouse are the proper the quantities and selection. So this is a different KPIs also. You need to monitor all of this in order to make sure that the items or the warehouse is intact. More of this I can discuss with you separately after this presentation. In the post, I can provide more information about the KPIs.
Okay, we have only 1 minute left, but I would raise the topic, and it will be a bit too short, but the topic of dead stock and slow-moving items. Do you have some recommendations for those?
Okay, this is strategic items. You need to make sure that you only have strategic items as minimum as possible. I have two bearings that has a lead time of 9 months, and they are critical and cost 50,000 euros. They are the Yankee bearings. So if you don't have them, and you have for an incident and the oil got contaminated and the bearing failed, and you don't have this bearing inside your warehouse, you need to search for another job, because you will not tolerate this kind of behavior. You need to minimize it using bill of material, using your experience to know for sure that this item is critical and essential, and that leave this item inside the warehouse.
Okay, we're out of time. Thank you so much. Very inspiring.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.